Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today we are going to be counting down the top 10 best Walking Dead villains of all time from the main Walking Dead series, not the comics, not Fear the Walking Dead, not the game, just the main show. Now, I counted out 10 specific villains that I felt like were the 10 main villains of this series. There's some other ones here and there, there's some minor villains that we've had here and there, but I'm not counting them because I just don't feel like they're big enough to be counted as villains. These are the 10 ones that I feel like are the major ones. Some of them are just parts of a group, and I kind of count them as also being with the rest of the group. For example, Owen, who was one of the wolves, he was like the main leader of the wolves. He was the main one that we knew from this group, so I'm kind of counting the whole group as one villain, but mainly talking about the character himself as well as his influence on the group and all that good stuff. So what am I ranking them on? So there's more than just which ones are my favorite, because it's not really good to rank something just on what's your favorite. It's based on their looks, their design, the acting that the actor or actress portrays this character as, the impact on the story, as well as just their motives. Motivations are one of the most important thing for villains as to why are they the way they are. Are they just being villainous just to be villainous, or because that's how the writers wanted them to be? Or is there actual good backstory behind them that makes their motivations make sense? Now, these 10 villains that I'm counting down, like I said, there might be some more ones here and there. Like, for example, a character like Nicholas. You might count him as a villain, but I don't. I don't think he's deserving of a villainous. Yes, he portrayed a problem against the group, and that's what a villain does. They portray problems against the main protagonists, but in the end, was he really a bad guy the whole way through? No. Now, some of these characters have also redeemed themselves. For example, Negan, he's not really a villain anymore. This is portraying them as when they were a villain. So when I'm ranking Negan in this list, I'm not ranking how he is now because he's not a villain anymore. I'm talking about when he was a villain during season 7 and 8. That's how they're being ranked in this list. So let's get started with number 10. Coming into number 10 spots, my least favorite out of these villains, which are like the main ones, has got to be Dawn. So Dawn was, of course, part of the hospital group within season 5 of The Walking Dead. And I'm not going to lie, the hospital story arc was one of my least favorite portions of this entire series. I did not care for a lot of it. Now, going back and rewatching it, I kind of gained a new appreciation for it more than I did before. Like, before, I was under the boat of it being just complete garbage, but now I'm sitting here like, you know what? It's not that terrible, but compared to the amazing stuff we've gotten in the rest of the show, I really didn't care for the hospital stuff at all. I liked the stuff that went on with Beth. I thought that was good. I liked how her death was done, actually. A lot of people hated that. I thought it was well done, personally. But the character of Dawn, she wasn't always a villain, to be fair. In the first episode we saw her in, episode 4 of season 5, titled Slabtown, she was just being a bitch all around. She slapped Beth twice in the face, and she was really controlling over her wards, and you can tell there are some bad things about her. Now, clearly there are a lot worse people within this facility. Like I said, I'm not ranking them at how bad they are as people. This is just as they are as villains. And Dawn just didn't seem to me as that interesting. Like, what was her main purpose in the end of the day? It kind of wasn't that clear all the time. She started being nicer, but she was still allowing all these bad people to exist within her hospital group, including the rapists, who were one of the rapists tried to literally rape Beth, and Dawn was allowing it to happen, but eventually she kind of realized, I can't let this happen. So she fought back for Beth, and she actually seemed to care for Beth, like, towards episode 8. But then, of course, she just had to snap at the end of the episode, and she said, no, I need Noah back. I want my ward. He was my ward. I need him back. And then that caused Beth to say, okay, I'm gonna have to stab this bitch, and then Beth got shot in the face. So Dawn was interesting, but not nearly as interesting as the rest of the villains. I think she had her purpose, and the actress did a great job. Not gonna lie, she did a great job for that role, but there wasn't really much more to it other than, yeah, she's just there. And if we're talking about the rest of the hospital crew, like, there was some creeps there, but we didn't get a real good closure, I felt like, for this arc. I mean, they're still out there. I mean, a lot of them could still be alive. I mean, most of the bad ones were gone, but still, they're still out there. So yeah, that comes in at number 10. Coming in at the number 9 spot, I've got Owen and the Wolves. So the Wolves were really just a plot device more than anything. Mainly a plot device for Morgan and Carol's characters, as well as a plot device to get No Way Out started. They needed a way to get the herd to go to the community. And they built up the Wolves for a while. They started building them up in episode 9 of season 5. And then we didn't really get to see them until like the end of season 5 and then leading into season 6. And for all that build-up for just 2 episodes of them being there was kind of disappointing, but at the same time, does it really matter? They were just a plot device at the end of the day. That's why they're not that high on the list. But what kind of gives them an upper hand is the fact that they actually did some cool stuff with Owen's character by having him stay within the community, with Morgan trying to keep him alive. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Morgan doing this whole, oh, let's keep everyone alive sort of a deal, but after, seeing what his character was through in episode 4 of season 6, the Here Is Not Here episode, which is a really well-written episode, it started to make sense, and I started understanding what was going on. And then, of course, the guy ended up helping Denise in No Way Out, and then Carol, of course, shot him and killed him. But, I don't know, I thought his little story there was interesting, but in terms of being a villain, I don't know. The Wolves were they were psychopaths. There wasn't really much to them other than being crazy. I mean, I really never understood why were they putting W's on walkers' heads. They said that the Wolves used to mark their territory, but like, I don't know. It felt weird to me. And this type of a group, I feel like, was done much better within the Whispers, like some psychopaths who do these weird type of shit. It feels more genuine in the Whispers than it does in someone like the Wolves and Owen. This was like only like a year or 2 into the apocalypse, so like was kind of weird to me. I don't know, but the Wolves and Owen comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, I've got Joe and the Claimers. So of course these guys were from season 4, specifically episode 11 all the way to the finale. They didn't really have all that much purpose at first. It kind of was good for Daryl's character, Daryl to see what type of a person he is, who he truly is, and I thought that was great. The first episode they're introduced was awesome, when Rick was like hiding under the bed and he had to strangle that one guy in the bathroom, and the motives of these guys, it wasn't all that crazy. They just wanted to get revenge on Rick because they knew that some guy killed one of our people in this place. But I loved their little like rules. That was really cool how they did this whole thing where you have to claim territory. You see something, you claim it. I like that a lot, and these guys were relatable in that way, how they were going about their life, not in terms of them being sickos later on. We didn't really know they were sickos until one of them tried to get down on Carl like that. That was some sick shit, but it was really, really awesome to see. Really satisfying to see Rick kill them all. That was awesome. Not all of them. Michonne killed a few. I think Daryl killed one or so. But that whole episode, I mean, Rick biting Joe's throat out, it was just a really well done everything. I don't know. Their final episode was probably the reason why this group isn't like last place, just because it paid off really well. The purpose of this group paid off really, really damn well. So I like them, but they didn't have much more to it other than that. I'm not going to put them higher than that just because they weren't used that much for or affecting that many characters other than Daryl, Rick, Michonne, and Carl. That was about it. So they come in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, I've got Gareth and Terminus. So this is the hunters, I guess you want to call them termites, whatever the hell you want to call them, mainly referring to the main leader of them, which is, of course, Gareth. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at the time, I was kind of disappointed that this group didn't last that long because I was very excited for this group. I loved the whole cannibal story arc in the comics. I loved the cannibal story arc in the game. I don't know what it is about cannibals, but they are interesting. They are some sick people, and I was really excited to see how that was portrayed in the Walking Dead universe, and I was definitely happy with what they did for the most part. I just wanted to see more, and I think that's why I was disappointed they were killed off so quick. But at the same time, looking back at it, what more could they have done? There's not much story to them other than them being cannibals and wanting to eat people. That's pretty much the whole story. And those 3 episodes, I guess 4 if you count the season 4 finale, was some of the best portions of the entire Walking Dead franchise Loved those consecutive episodes, and the whole arc was just great. I mean, them going into Terminus and seeing all this sick shit, them hanging up bodies and stuff after they eat them, after they were eaten, and then they went to go eat Bob's leg right in front of him. I mean, some sick shit. I mainly like Gareth because of his actor, though. His actor was phenomenal. Just the way he portrayed him was really, really good. That made for some really awesome scenes between him. And then, of course, the way they met their demise was very satisfying, seeing Rick and the gang just destroy them in the church. And it really showed who these guys are and what they came to be. This group, though, was a major plot device because they needed a location for them to trust at first, and then ending up being something that doesn't turn out good, because they needed to have the group doubt Alexandria. They couldn't have them just go to Alexandria without going to Terminus first, because if they just went to Alexandria first, they wouldn't be doubting it as much as they were because of Terminus. Terminus made them doubt Alexandria. Terminus made them doubt that there are any safe places out there, and that's why this group was so damn important. So Terminus and Gareth come in at the number 7 spot. Coming at number 6, we have a character that I really don't want to call a villain, because there's a lot of characters that honestly could be similar to him, and that is Shane. Shane, I think he's a villain. A lot of people call him one, mainly in right when around the time he killed Otis, I say, when he started to be kind of becoming a villain. He's kind of a villain in disguise. I don't want to just portray him as a complete and utter villain like someone like Negan, Alpha, or Governor. He's more like just in disguise. He's a problem to this group, and he's clearly not a good person. A character like Lizzie's she was mentally ill, man. I can't call a person villain when they were just mentally ill. But Shane, he had stability to him. He was a normal guy. He might have had some things going on in his head, but that doesn't take away the fact that he is a villain. It doesn't excuse people who are mentally ill from doing terrible things, of course. Lizzie still did terrible things. I just don't think I should call her a villain because of it. You know what I mean? Even though she killed someone, but she had no remorse for it. But that's because of how her brain worked, you know what I mean? But then again, you call the Joker a villain, but he's mentally ill. I don't know, man. It's a very fine line. It's hard to determine who should be called a villain in movies and shows. It really is. Sometimes it's not clear, and The Walking Dead does a great job at not making it clear, so it's not just being cliched into your face. It's more so, you can interpret this however you want. Well, I'm interpreting Shane as a villain. I think the way his character arc ended, and just the way his character went about himself, and it was for a decent amount of the show, yeah, I think he's deserving of a villain. And he was a fantastic character. And honestly, his character I do like more than a few of the characters that are higher up on this list. But I'm not ranking his character. I'm ranking him as a villain, not as a character. I think his villainous aspects, they were interesting. They were going somewhere. And I did like how it finished itself out. I just don't know if we got enough of it, maybe that's just because season 2 had a lower budget, they did less stuff with the season itself, but he was interesting, but I just don't know how much, and he didn't really have that many interesting factors to him, and sometimes his motives were a little weird. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Sometimes, but Shane, at the end of the day, the actor, John Berthold, amazing acting, so yeah, it's got to come in at number 6. I think he would be higher up if this was just ranking the characters and not them as a villain, because I did love Shane a lot. I thought he was an awesome character. I just don't know of him as a villain. I mean, he wasn't that threatening. He played mind games. He definitely did, but he was just one guy. It's not like someone like these other characters who have whole groups behind them, therefore making them more threatening, therefore making them more villainous. That's maybe what's holding him down a bit. I don't know. But regardless, Shane, great villain, comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, I've got Simon, of course, Negan's right-hand man. Now, I'm not just, completely forgetting about right-hand men. I think they deserve to be counted as, but of course there's some right-hand men throughout the series who I'm not counting, like Merle, for example. I'm not counting Merle as a villain. People might be like, oh, are you kidding me? If you're going to count Shane as a villain, you got to count Merle as a villain. I don't think Merle was villainous. I think he was a douchebag. I think he was a kind of a dick, but I don't think he was a villain. He was just taking orders. No, I don't think Merle was a villain. I don't know what people are talking about when they say Merle was a villain. But Simon, he was definitely a villain. He comes in at number 5. He was I loved the dynamic between him and Negan in season 8, how he was just all about, we should just kill these people. We can't just be toying with them like we are. We should just put a flyer on that place and just boom, 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 kill everyone. And Negan didn't like that because Negan likes to keep people as a resource. That's how he sees things. And so I love their dynamic between that. And then Simon just saying screw it and killing all the garbage people or the scavengers, whatever you want to call them, in episode 10 of season 8 was insane. And then Simon's character from there, like the second half of season 8, just better and better and better. I mean, he was a crazy man, and I loved that. And also adds on to the fact that the actor is great. Stephen Ogg, great actor, of course. You know, you played Trevor in GTA. Everyone knows him from from GTA as Trevor. But I don't know, and just his lines and dialogue was really great too. In season 7, a lot of his conversations with Gregory were just hilarious. And I don't know, ever since he joined the show, I do feel like his ending was a little disappointing. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't like how they ended his character. I felt like we should have gotten more. I personally would have liked it better if they had it so Negan didn't kill him. Maybe Negan got really pissed at him and just like told him, you can't be fucking up like this anymore, but I need you now. Specifically in the final battle against the group in the season 8 finale, and maybe like Jadis would have joined the group and she would have been the one to kill him. I feel like that would be fitting, or I don't know, have Daryl do it, anyone, and I think that would have been cooler. Maybe have one of the characters 1v1 him in some awesome fight, but they decided to go the route of just having Negan choke him to death. I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of that, but at the same time, just the way the actor, his dialogue, the actor, his villainous aspects, they were great. So Simon comes in at number 5. Then coming in at number 4, I've got Beta. Beta is, of course, one of the newer villains. He's Alpha's right-hand man, and we don't really know all that much about him right now, I'm going to be honest. But him being this damn high on the list, it's got to prove something, man. That's got to prove something. Him being this high and we not really knowing much just proves not only how great Ryan Hurst is at portraying him, but also just how badass this man is. I mean, of course, the fight we had with him against Daryl was one of my favorite scenes in the entire Walking Dead franchise. I love the voice that Ryan Hurst makes when he's portraying as Beta. The recent episode with Negan and Beta talking to each other and you know, Negan just pissing the hell out of him. Hilarious stuff. Beta is just terrifying, one of the scariest villains in the entire franchise. He's probably the most threatening, honestly. If I was stuck in a room with any one of these villains, I would not want to be stuck in with Beta, definitely. He's the least out of all these characters that I would want to be stuck in a room with, because he would destroy you. He would turn you inside out. I'm telling you, if they do a Friday the 13th remake in the future, Ryan Hurst has got to play him, because he could portray an amazing Jason. I gotta say, man, just seeing him in episode 2 of season 10 with like that big ass look on him with the mask, he looks like a great Jason Voorhees. My God, and I love Beta. I think he's insanely scary, and I cannot wait to see him possibly fighting Negan within a future episode. I'm sure they're gonna do the Negan versus Beta. No way they won't. Cannot wait for that. But like I said, we don't really know too much about him. I like what we learned about him in episode 2, how he does have someone he cared about, and that's the person's face he's wearing. That's intriguing to me. I like how he doesn't show his face. We're probably going to learn about what the hell happened to his face in a later episode, hopefully. But I don't know, man. Beta's a great character. This comes in number 4. And we are down to the big 3. Now, these are what I consider to be the big 3, the main 3 villains of the entire franchise. And if you do process elimination, I'm pretty sure you can tell which 3 these characters are. Number 3 is going to be Alpha. Now, Alpha is awesome. The second they introduced her, I was just like, oh God, this is going to be some good shit. Now, she's not better than the first 2 on the list. I'm sorry. I can't say that just yet. I think the fact that she's not as intimidating. Like, yeah, she's creepy as hell, right? She's creepy, but she's not really intimidating. Like, if I was stuck in a room with her, I feel like I could hold my own, unless she had a gun to me. But if she didn't, I feel like I could hold my own. I don't know. Maybe that's me being sexist because she's a woman. I don't know, but no, not really. But yeah, Alpha is just really interesting. And I love her dynamic with Lydia and the fact that every time she cries, she like wipes, she like doesn't want her people to see her crying. Like in episode 15 of season 9, how she was crying, and another Whisper saw her and she stabbed him. The only thing that I need to be more clear is, where are these motives coming from? Because that's, I think, what's holding me down a little bit, is because, yeah, we know she's all about this whole nature thing. She's like, oh, we need to be back to nature. You know, people out there, your communities are a shrine to us and stuff like that. And they showed a little bit of her backstory, but that was already after she had these ideologies. She already believed in not having names at the point when we saw her in a flashback. Like, was she like this before the apocalypse? A little bit. She kind of said how Lydia had a paper bag on her face and she let it happen. So she seems to be abusive in many different ways. Of course, we know that. But why? Is it a mental disorder that we don't know about? Was she abused when she was a kid? And maybe that's why she's portraying the abuse to Lydia? Was she abused by a parent or another lover or something? Like, that's what I'm curious about, because why is she this type of a person? And I know that we don't need to be given all these answers right away, and I don't know if we'll ever get the answers to them, but these motivations are important to me because it's what her whole character is based on, you know? Stuff like that isn't that important for someone like Negan, because we're able to infer what he's doing and why it's working for him and why he's, you know, having these motivations to make this sort of a community. But her whole character revolves around how she treated her daughter and how she treats her people too. Why are they all following her? I don't know about you, but I would not be following some crazy bitch who just stabs people because they look at her funny, basically. That's what she does. Or they say one thing and the Alpha just stabs them. Now, I understand it's kind of, they want safety and they feel like they're part of it, almost like they're brainwashed into the system. That's kind of why they follow her, and that does make sense to me. But at the same time, some of it doesn't. I feel like we should be seeing more Whispers trying to go against the system a little bit, possibly. I don't know. But that's besides the point, because Alpha, not only is the actress portraying her completely incredibly, her design is awesome. She looks freaking creepy as hell. I love when she has the mask on. She looks even creepier. Actually, she looks pretty creepy without the mask as well, let's be honest here. Looks like she's got like a freaking, I don't know, her head looks like an egg, like a dinosaur egg or something. Yeah, but I love that fact that she doesn't just kill. She's toying with them. She's doing these things like knocking down the tree on Hilltop to toy with them. She's poisoning their water. She wants them to suffer and crumble on the inside, as opposed to them just attacking and getting a bunch of their people killed. And of course, the Whispers as a whole are just such an interesting group and they're just awesome. So that's of course why they come in at number 3, and Alpha comes in the same spot as well. Coming in number 2, the Governor. So the Governor was the first main villain, I guess. I mean, Shane is like I said, he's a villain, but like in terms of being a big force and having a whole group behind him, the Governor was the first person. But the Governor's group that he had, they weren't really him. You know what I mean? It's not like Negan having all these followers or Alpha having all these followers. The Governor just created a society that was successful and people enjoyed being there, but they didn't know who he really was. Like, Negan was honest. He told everyone who he was. He said, I'm gonna bash your brains in if you fuck with me. Alpha, pretty much the same way. But Governor was just really, he was secretive about his psychotic nature, and I love how they showed him being this crazy dude in episode 3 of season 3, when it's all looking pretty good. You know, the Governor, he doesn't seem that bad, and then he goes to those army dudes, he's talking to him, saying they have his man named Crowley, and then boom, he says, we found you too, and he just shoots the one guy. Awesome scene. And from there, the Governor was unleashed. He had those awesome scenes with the fish tank walker heads. You had his daughter that he kept alive, Michonne coming and killing the daughter, then him getting his eye stabbed out. Such a cool design for his character, having that eye patch. Awesome shit, man. And then they end the season off with him going on a rampage and killing his own people. And then he comes back in season 4 to bring one of the best episodes of the franchise, which is of course Too Far Gone, and his character dying in a really fitting fashion. of Michonne slicing the katana through his goddamn back, out through his stomach. The governor, man, David Morse, just killed it, man. He killed this role. He played a psychopath so damn well. Love the governor, man. I really don't have many problems with this character, other than maybe they could have done something better than how they finished it off with him just killing all his people. You know what? No. You know what? No. I loved how they did it. I don't want to have any regrets for his character because I don't think there really should be any. That's how interesting he was. That's how terrifying he was. And that's how great this character was. So he comes in at the number 2 spot. And of course, number 1. Who else but Negan, the wonderful, one of my favorite all-time characters in the show, one of my favorite all-time villains in any series, any movie, any show, any media ever. Negan is the goddamn man. I love this character. I love this villain. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a mastermind at playing this damn character, I gotta say. So Negan was introduced in probably the best introduction out of any character I've ever seen, ever. I don't know what it was, but this introduction was just so damn good. So it was building up from season 6, episode 8, with them talking about your property now belongs to Negan, right? And we get little hints of them here and there. You know, Dwight's group, all that stuff, you know, and Dwight was truly running after him, or running away from them. And then they help the Hilltop out against them, and then get themselves in some trouble. And then the season 6 finale, that build up to Negan, and then you have all that music playing, and then they say, and Simon says, let's meet the man. He comes out, and then one of the best monologue speeches of any show I've ever seen, 10 minutes long. Negan coming out, pissing our pants. Yeah, I mean, you can't get better than that, man. The humor this guy has, the charisma this guy has, the lines of dialogue. I can literally watch Negan all day, and he's still great to this day, but he's not a villain anymore. So this is mainly referring to his season 7 and 8 character as a villain, but it was still great even during those seasons, man. Loved every line of dialogue this man had. Now, the only thing that I wish they did a little bit better is maybe not had him almost kill Carl, because he has this thing for kids, right, that they clearly portrayed in season 8, season 9, even now in season 10. But they almost had him kill Carl. Now, I rewatched that scene a million times, right? He could have pulled that bat back. Maybe he wasn't going to do it. He also stated that he was only going to do it because he knew it was the only way to make Rick follow his way. But I feel like it would have just worked better if they just didn't have him ever say he was going to kill Carl in the first place. Maybe they say, I'm going to kill you, Rick, or something like that. I don't know, man. I feel like it could, or maybe had another character there. Maybe had Michonne next to him instead. I don't know. They could have done many different things to have made it work a little bit better in the end. But that doesn't take away from how awesome this villain was. And people say he lasted too long. People said he was on the show for too long and that they didn't like him and stuff like that. Maybe people were just annoyed by him all around, but I don't agree. I was not ever annoyed by Negan. I thought every second of him on the screen was hilarious. I thought it was entertaining. I thought his motivations made sense to me. He was just trying to create a society that was, secure, and they would keep his people safe, and he knew the only way he thought he could do that was by being harsh, by being kind of a dick, by having people work for you in pretty bad ways. He was an egomaniac. Yeah, he wanted all that power. He really cared about having power, which I find to be intriguing about his character. Characters like the Governor and Alpha, they're similar in that power complex. I mean, Alpha definitely, she really wants people to kneel to her, just like Negan did. Therefore, I'm really excited to see Negan and Alpha's conversations, because them two as characters quite similar. So I'm excited for that. But Negan's he's so iconic too. The Bat Lucille, I mean, his leather jacket, his soundtrack. I mean, I forgot to even talk about soundtracks, but that's even pretty important to the characters as well. And the Governor, Negan, Alpha all have some great villainous theme songs that go on with them while they're usually on screen, and I love every second of that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. That's the list. Let me know what your lists are in the comment section below. I'd love to see them. And hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.